love to Sil Nation.
Hey guys,
Zach says shout out.
Love this channel.
To Sil Nation.
Stay tuned.
It's Coffee Talk with sylabdul. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe now.
Wake up in the morning, eyes crusty, heavy yawning. My phone keep going off, so I shut off the alarm and then head into the kitchen to get the coffee brewing. French roast with French vanilla, my own French revolution. Next movement is to tune into Coffee Talk with Sil. My girl starts to yap, if I tell her she needs to chill. I hear enough of the yapping from all of these goofy shills. Plus I'm trying to be informed of whatever's the latest deal, for real. I am a fee for caffeine. Coffee gotta have some cream. Fetch a hazel beef for me while I listen to these kings. Silla might be the team. Subscribe to Sylabdul Inc. Wiki City magazine. Tell me what's behind the scenes. The other side of the ravine. Is it obscene or is it obscure? I am not sure. The rich is the rich off the poor. That ain't no doubt to my core. We just keep asking for more. They keep supplying the man in the store. As long as it makes it to shore, I know for sure. They'll just keep on making more. Well, almost treasure that piece now has been transformed into corporate Hollywood tour.
What's up? What's up? Welcome to Coffee Talk. I am sylabdul. Give you informative, objective, and dynamic analysis of the latest in CB and the geek news, plus the business behind it. Been a very interesting week for this platform. We've been getting new people finding the channel. We've been getting people, longtime viewers, getting mad in my chat. It's been just a very interesting week of news. It was Superman week, right? And it's really it's been capped off yesterday, the week of Superman. This was one of the biggest platforms I covered, or one of the biggest projects, rollouts, and everything that I've covered in my 5 years in doing this. Like I said, Snyder Cut was a big moment on the channel. Superman was another big moment because everyone had an opinion. Everyone had an opinion on it. The numbers are there. It did what it did. Now we'll see what it do going forward. But it still remains in the conversation because we're going to talk about the box office today. You see the topics right there. And how my music go off already? We're still flowing. You see the topics right there. The Superman box office. Fantastic Four is up next. And people that didn't understand projections and forecasts, it's going to be another session when Fantastic Four comes out, and Superman's second week will be interesting. Also, Donkey Kong in the Nintendo films, whatever they're doing, will be some interesting stuff. Much love to Sil Nation. We up early. Coffee Talk. I see Music City Soul in the chat. I see X Twitter over there. Do what y'all do. Reshare the post. Comment under it. For sure. We got some interesting things to talk about. So we're gonna get on into it. But if you're on YouTube, make sure you smash the like. Make sure you're still subscribed. Welcome to the new viewers. I really tried to make sure with my coverage for Superman that I wanted to bring the data, bring the facts, and not to be so caught up in fandom wars, right? That's one thing I really wanted to separate myself from, and also the uninformed. We wanted to make sure we were really informed of what we were talking about. And like I said, things have been lining up with those projections. Again, people I've talked to, people that late great Mikey Sutton introduced me to. So yeah, that's why I want to be accurate when I come to y'all and talk about stuff. So before we get into the topics, first off, become a Patreon. Links in the description. You get my latest exclusives and project information. I've been pretty busy this past week with Superman, so I haven't had a chance to really feed the patrons like I wanted to. But now Superman week is over. We can start ramping back up with my Patreon coverage. YouTube members is a separate thing. It's here on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, that's where you get first look videos and like exclusive news and things that's in the news And also, I've been doing interviews with people in the comic book industry, and I'll be doing that with people in the entertainment industry as well, too. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Of course, I'm live, so this happens all the time. All right, let's turn that ringer off. How about that? Take that. So as we go forward with that, so those are the difference between the two different platforms. You get a unique experience both ways and exclusive. So let's jump right into this. Fans of Super Mario Brothers film, what was that, 2 years ago? Had a great time with that Super Mario film, and we already knew what they were trying to set up, the whole Donkey Kong angle, and now it's official. Nintendo has filed a copyright notice for an untitled Donkey Kong motion picture. They are doing a live action Zelda, which I don't know how that's going to really work. I think people want an animated Zelda, in my opinion, but okay, you're doing live action. Maybe you have a script you really like. But as far as in Super Mario, but the whole Nintendo cinematic universe that they have at their fingertips right now, in conjunction with Universal, they filed that copyright. So Donkey Kong is a film in collaboration with Universal Pictures, and it looks like they're going forward with it. Like I said, just keep that same flavor with what you did with Super Mario Brothers. I respect the source material, and you're going to make $1 billion with Donkey Kong. That's kind of not fair either. Super Mario was a banger. I really had fun with that. I like when they did. They would zoom out and make it look like one of them Super Mario boards. I was like, that was cool. That was just a total nostalgia bait. But I liked it. That's a movie I could watch, here and then. With that, so Donkey Kong is next, and like I said, it'll be more of the same with that, in my opinion. So nothing's been cast yet, and as I said on my Patreon, I usually get project information, especially when they're closer to shooting or making the project in this situation. So we'll get some voice actors. I'm sure they're going to get some super voice actors to really push this Donkey Kong film. So that's going to be cool. Looking forward to it. Donkey Kong. And StreamYard has just been very weird lately. So we wanted to get that out of the way because a big topic this week. And it's going to be a continued conversation. Because when leading up to Superman being released, I saw some of the worst takes ever on social media. People saying that it was going to be DOA, that it was going to do less than the Flash. Just some terrible takes. Only because I was leaning again on the forecast and the information. And it was no way this was going to just come out bombing, because they put a lot into the marketing. It's debatable how much they spent on the marketing of James Gunn Superman, but it was no way this was going to just fell out of the box as far as with that. And it was a wild take. It was some crazy takes, man. And I'm just like, if people would kind of relax and just kind of, see what the data was actually saying, that this, it did what was kind of expected. I think some people kind of over broadcast forecast for this film, but it really sat right in the middle and really was similar to what it did in 2013 with Man of Steel. Again, I know people want to argue inflation and stuff, but again, I don't really do all that. They knew they can come out with a Superman film and it would hit as far as, kind of what it did. But let's go ahead and look at the this week's this past week's box office.
Box office battle.
Box office battle brought to you by Box Office Pro. Shout out to them with these graphics. This is the unofficial numbers because since this was published, Superman actually got a bump on Sunday up to 125 million. So again, that mid-range, that's what Superman did. We'll talk about again what the second week, because everyone that had the wild takes, now they're saying, okay, second week, it's gonna bomb. People on my timeline hates it, so that's word of mouth. Like, come on, bro. Come on. This ain't the first film I've covered on my platform. I've been trying to prepare people for how I was going to cover this film for the past several months. So I have the same energy as with any film as far as what this does and what the audience score signifies. So that's what we're going to get into today. I see Penny in the chat. Agent 47 was good. Fernando was good. Yeah, I keep forgetting. I gotta get that move the goalpost video. But yeah, same energy. I've never changed how I covered any film past couple years. So 125 million for Superman. Great start domestically. We're going to talk about the international in just a moment. So bookmark Superman. But other box office, Jurassic World Rebirth, 40 million. Now, what I will say, we was, according to the data, we was expecting a 60% drop. That's what Jurassic World did. Some people was hinting, saying maybe it'd be a 70% drop. But no, the Jurassic World IP is still as strong as ever. So we can't front on what Universal has with Jurassic World. You're going to get that trilogy of this new trilogy. ScarJo and the survivors of this film. So that's one thing I learned from the box office this week is, Jurassic World's still alive and kicking. It's still tracking behind its predecessors domestically. And actually, let's pull up their numbers. Got a little emergency. Let's pull up their numbers. With that, shout out to Captain Obvious in the chat. But one thing I've learned, people that have listened to this channel for years, they still don't catch everything I say. so it really ain't. I'm not surprised. Something I said 5 minutes ago, someone says in the chat. Amazing. Jurassic World Rebirth, 532. For the global box office, that's 300 internationally. The international is carrying pretty well, and more on that in just a moment. Domestically, 232. With the domestic, and again, this is after about 12, 13 days. Shout out to Penny doing laundry. After the 12, 13 days, you got 232, and it's, with the 60% drop this past week, meaning you'll probably get more of a drop, even more in a week, and especially when Fantastic Four comes out. Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be fighting to get to 300 domestic. Now, internationally, it may cross 400. So you're looking at a film, this is a $700 million film, Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, the thing they have going for it is that they spent less than previous Jurassic World films. So that's good for them. They don't have to make as much as before. They don't have to hit $1 billion to feel good about this film. They get $700 million, they're going to feel good internationally. Now, one thing that it seemed like people forgot, this has been something that's been said for years. We understood about the box office that you as a company, as a studio, you make less profit from international screenings. And just somehow people, I guess, selectively forgot to say that with this film. Even if it does 500 million internationally, domestic is where you make your money. And that's never changed. Like I don't, that is what it is. But like I said, I do feel I think that film definitely could challenge 700 million. I think they'll do their thing with that. Now, let's see here. So that's Jurassic World Rebirth. We'll see how that does. F1, notable mention. It's hanging in there. Did 13 million. Again, we're talking domestic. This is really, I'm going to be honest, this is the first time I saw people champion international numbers over domestic in a long time. And I'm just like, there's some agendas going on here. But F1 nearing 400 million globally, 257 internationally, domestically 136. Solid. This is solid for Apple Studios with F1. I believe the budget with this is what? Like 300 million, I believe. But as I always say with Apple, they just want to get as much IP as possible, and they'll sell an iPhone to make up any differences. So good for them. That's what F1 did. That is the box office for the week. But let's go further into the Superman talk. Because Warner Brothers and on my Superman channel, I mentioned Zaslav had put out a statement, and they were doing a victory lap for Superman, and it confused some people. Now, some people I'm not surprised they were confused because they thought this would do as much as the Flash. So I understand the confusion for people like that, but other people was like, is it normal to do victory laps like this? And well, yeah, we saw earlier this year. Warner Brothers did a victory lap for Minecraft opening weekend. That was what, 130? Superman did 120. So it's like, what? So it's not surprising, you know what I'm saying, that they're going to celebrate anything over 100 million. You do celebrate. I don't know how this has been confused. As did it make enough? Huh? Over 100 million, you're happy every time a film does over 100 million. Marvel just went through this with Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts. Any of these big IP films that hasn't been getting over 100 million, like Fernando says, yeah, you do your victory lap. People that knows the business, those that don't know the business, the uninformed, they don't probably understand that. The uninformed are amazing. How loud and wrong they are with this. So 220 global. And let's get into as far as the numbers with this. Well, first, let's see. People had a lot of talk about international. So let's throw this up real quick. Head of Global Distributions, Warner Brothers, Jeffrey Goldstein, or Goldstein, probably, said how big this release was for them. The Superman's been very American-centric. Big win, for DC and Warner Brothers. Again, especially when you had idiots that was saying this would do like 50, 60. This was a big win for the Superman brand for Warner Brothers as well. 2.1 billion, right? Let's not stop at a billion. Let's go even crazy. It was quite the win. We needed to get the trust of the fan base, he says, and we didn't have it. And let's kind of talk about this for a second. Warner Bros. Openly admitting that the trust of the DC, theatrical DC. They lost the trust. And I'll tell you when they really lost the trust of this. But it says they were clear to us that we needed to take a step back and reinvent ourselves. When did the theatrical fan base lose trust in DC? Now, most will say, oh, look, 2017 Justice League. And personally, I feel some kind of way from 2017. But after 2017, you got Aquaman. All right. Aquaman did $1 billion. So maybe you didn't fully lose the trust, back then for the audiences. Then you had the COVID era. Birds of Prey flopped and things like that happened at that time. But I think definitively when DC lost the trust of the theatrical fan base was because in 2022 you got Matt Reeves the Batman and people showed up for that. Again, Wonder Woman 84, that was COVID. That was still COVID. So I'm going to actually give them a pass for a couple of years right there because then you came back with Matt Reeves Batman. Black Adam flops, right? A film that was fully behind. But again, if I'm going off of bare numbers, that was a flop, Black Adam. And then you enter 2023. That was the year the live action DC fan base that they lost the trust of the viewers, of DC fans overall. I mean, whether you were a Snyder fan, whether you were just DC in general, 2023, before that year, they was like, oh, we're doing a reboot. We may keep this stuff, we may not. I thought that was a terrible announcement, terrible timing. It doomed Shazam 2. It put like a bullseye on every single film in 2023. Shazam 2 underperformed. The Flash vastly underperformed, and it was other factors with Flash, but it flopped massively. Blue Beetle underperformed or just didn't really make a blip. Aquaman 2, they ain't even, Aquaman 2 they didn't even market the film. So it's just amazing. It's amazing as far as what happened, as far as with 2023. And I think that's when, again, they lost the trust of the viewers. And so that's what Goldstein is saying right here. And they feel they got it back. That's what haters support. There's a lot of feelings out there. I like them to express themselves, though. You got people coming from the future and stuff in here. Like, amazing. The feelings attached to this. And so, again, with this type of opening, what was the number again? Let's go back to it. I don't know. You good, Joel? I was talking about the idiots. Now, Joel, you cool in the chat. But the Superman soars. The 220 global. This was a win for the Superman brand. If it cements James Gunn's, I guess, name recognition. We'll see how this film holds going forward. We'll talk about the second week in just a moment here. 220 million. First week is still 220 million overall. So, and with this victory lap, they tagged an article, which I thought was interesting. This article they tagged. Let's see here. If it'll let me put it up here. There you go. Boom. Superman launches new chapter for DC. Again, Zaz was like, yo, the new era of DC is here. We got Supergirl coming out the chamber. We got some streaming shows. They're hyped. They're hyped for what DC is going to do. This is a successful reboot. Because, I know the first thing most people would do is say, okay, what was the last Superman film? Man of Steel. Man of Steel made more opening weekend. So how is this a win? Well, again, this is a reboot. So if you're getting similar numbers to Man of Steel, albeit short of those numbers, a little short of those numbers, but similar numbers, that is a win in the film industry. On internet and like just psychos, maybe that's not enough for some people, but this is a successful reboot, and they're going forward with this first wave of DC. And I'll say this, like, because people say, "Oh, if this flops, if the Superman flops, it didn't flop, right?" So James Gunn is going to get this first wave to Supergirl. Now they're going to start greenlighting more stuff publicly because they have some leeway now. Now James Gunn likely will get his extension because he successfully rebooted Superman. So you're likely going to get this 6 to 8 to 10 year plan is what they're planning as far as with this film. I feel some feelings are hurt when I say this. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Terrific's getting the spinoff Jimmy and the Daily Planet. So when you hear oh, Jimmy Olsen's getting a spinoff, that's Daily Planet is getting a spinoff, which should be interesting. Mr. Terrific, one of the best parts of the film. And think of it like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and Gunn was setting up a spinoff. He was already planning to do a Mr. Terrific spinoff, like while they were filming Superman. That's why you have that, super cool scene in the film with Mr. Terrific, because Gunn's like, I want you to remember this guy because we're going to do more with him. And I think that's what they're going to do. They came out immediately, dropped a yay. We did it. Yeah, they did this with Minecraft. They did this with Sinners as well. So this, because when people's like, oh, so the first week they're going to celebrate an opening weekend. Yeah, that's what you do. When it's opening week, you celebrate your wins publicly. So if they celebrated Minecraft, which I don't know, did I have the right number with that? Minecraft did what? 160 opening weekend box office. 160 because they beat Barbie. You celebrate that, but then they also celebrated Sinners. Sinners did less than 50 million, but again, per the budget, that was a win. So they celebrated that as well. So if they're coming out celebrating Superman, you see the angle. They're saying, oh, this is really a win. And they have good tracking for a second week as well, too. So I know people were confused. Like, how do you celebrate this film? That's they're on code doing that. Now, again, WBD shared this article of the Wrap, which I find interesting, and taking those quotes about international, how they didn't really expect international to hit. This is interesting. Facing stiff overseas competition from Jurassic World, the superhero film earns 122, which is really 125 now, domestic start. Get this out the way. WB DC Studios didn't earn the studio's biggest opening of the year, but is still getting the new era of DC superhero movies off on the right foot with a global launch, which is now 222, including the 125 domestic. We'll correct that on the fly. Again, this hit right in the middle of the projections. People are saying from 115 to 135, right in the sweet spot there. That's better than Guardians 3. want to give y'all some context here. But pacing behind Matt Reeves' Batman. So it was projecting pretty close to Batman, but just right behind. oh, we got some feelings in the chat. Hold on. Everything he's saying is kind of summed up right here. I hate James Gunn and Warner Brothers in that too. Yeah. You know, instead of all the outlandish statements, just say that. Purge your feelings. Yeah, isn't that interesting, Joe? Because again, when you're sticking to numbers and just forecasts, you're taking the feelings out of it. This opened up similar or actually better than Guardians 3. And that legged it out. Now, people will say, well, Guardians 3 legged it out because it was Marvel. This was in the middle. Marvel was it was a flop year for Marvel. And Guardians 3 gave them some of that flavor of the Infinity Saga, but it was a very new story, post-Endgame. You know, Captain America Brave New World, you know, he's a character from the Infinity Saga. That didn't do well. So, you know, it can't just be because it was characters from the Infinity Saga. Give James Gunn credit for Guardians 3. That's the point I'm trying to make. You just have to. If you're looking at box office, you give him credit. And so his name recognition is helping the Superman as well. And that will be the argument after this all said and done. Was it the brand of Superman or was it a name recognition, James Gunn? We're going to find out. I think I'm leaning more towards a name recognition, James Gunn. Because again, this film is behind Matt Reeves' Batman, right? Credit where it's due. The reception for Superman also has been largely positive. You got the audience, well, you got the critics, Rotten Tomatoes, 82%. Certified fresh, certified lover boy. You got 94% audience, Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty good. 90 plus audience. That represents word of mouth. Also, they mentioned the post-track positive score. I really don't go by that. But cinema score A-. That's word of mouth. You have people fighting tooth and nail all weekend. Word of mouth is the people I know in real life. No, that's not for box office. No, maybe that's your personal life. Maybe you have people that have terrible taste in film around you. I don't know. That's a sample size from anywhere between 10 to 50 people. When you're talking about your Twitter timeline and your cousins and everyone, family, friends, that's your sample size. Cinema score takes a sample size of thousands of people. Rotten Tomatoes, 5,000 plus audience. Oh, but someone could manipulate the audience score. We've seen review bombs. They had to implement verified audience to combat against review bombs. So if any of these audience tracking can be manipulated, it was for the worst. Like people review bomb stuff. Cinema score is straight up in-person people who's doing a survey. That hasn't been any case of manipulation with cinema score. So again, I know people have just been talking with their feelings a lot. This is what tracks audience score, which translates to word of mouth. Again, it's not your Twitter circle jerks. That doesn't determine word of mouth. Now, every film that I've covered the past 2-3 years, we went by these metrics, and it's held up pretty well. There's been some anomalies, but any anomaly, let me make it very clear, usually it over exceeds. You see what I'm saying? Anomalies with these numbers, audience score, word of mouth, usually people over exceed. You rarely see it underperform if the word of mouth is supposedly good. Oh, we still got some more feelings out there. One more time. I hate James Gunn and Warner Brothers in that too. Yeah. We get it, bro. You hate James Gunn and Warner Brothers. This is okay. But they did numbers. They did numbers. I can't deny the numbers. People that's watched this channel enough and that's still, not delusional. If the numbers was bad, we would have the same stream. I would say, "Oh, this is where it failed." Audience, boom, boom, boom. This is what I do. This ain't the first film. It says the word of mouth is only here in the States, another abroad. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's Captain Obvious. that's what that represents. You want to make money here domestically before anywhere. What percentage do they get from abroad? I'm just saying, like, who is discounting and saying, "Nah, I don't want the more money I get in the States. I want more money abroad." But you don't. You get a lesser percentage abroad. Does that make sense? You got to make money in the States more than anywhere. And what was the audience numbers for BVS? Because let's get this clear. Because I want Agent 47 is funny. I want this to be clear, and that's fine if we got to remind ourselves, every stream. BVS, which is my favorite CBM theatrical experience ever. I got it, the physical media. I got the digital. I got everything BVS. I had the most fun watching that film. But even I understand the audience score was less than satisfactory for BVS. And when you use these same metrics and BVS was under these, that's how you get the second weekend drop. So it's like, this is like this is a moment where we have to realize, again, this data has always lined up with any film, no matter how front loaded the opening is. If you have a low audience score, low cinema score, you're going to have a big second weekend drop. Jurassic World Rebirth had a B cinema score. Anything under a B plus, so B plus does not equal B when it comes to these metrics. B is considered pretty low. You're kind of going off of a cliff with the audience. So B plus is the lowest you would want. That's Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange. A B and lower than a B plus, you're going to have a significant second weekend drop. And that's what happened with BVS. Now with Superman, again, A minus, high audience, Rotten Tomatoes is projected to hold pretty well the second week. So this isn't, because a lot of people say, well, we'll never know. We have to see what happens. No. We had a good idea how this film was going to open and how Jurassic World was going to drop. So I'm going to trust these numbers and this formula that we've been following. And it suggests that Superman will actually have a pretty good hold. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, you will have to see what happens. We already have an idea how this film's going to do. It says, with that reception, Superman's in place to leg out with domestic audiences, even with Fantastic Four arriving in 2 weeks. Why can Superman leg it out even against Fantastic Four? Because of the high audience score, word of mouth. With any film, this has been a factor. Not your feelings. They're suggesting Superman and Fantastic Four. You got Super Fantastic is now a new hashtag. We have Super Jurassic. Now it's Super Fantastic. a new Barbenheimer where people are going to go back and see Superman and then catch the latest Fantastic Four. This will benefit Superman. Let's see what we see in the chat. I was waiting for good comments. We've had some terrible comments in the chat today. There's some terrible emotion-filled comments. Saturday and Sunday Ho was very good. Yeah, it's very I think both Saturday and Sunday did over 30 million. And what I think, this is my theory now. Let's take off this is speculation time now. Just from my 2 screenings and just from what I hear, they didn't put the demographic numbers out there yet, but I've been seeing older audiences, older couples, and they may come back and bring their grandchildren for crypto. Gen Z, I'm not sure if this film is cool enough for teenagers and mid-20s, like Gen Z crowd. Maybe they can get a hint of that political story in there, and, they may like that because, let's just keep it real. It was kind of like a pro-Palestine story or allegory, I would say, in the film, because I'm not going to put that on Gunn. But I do believe there's a hint towards that. So Gen Z crowd may latch on to that. We'll see. But I think mostly it's going to be an older crowd, the bros and the boomers. So, you got people like me, the bros, and, the older crowd, boomer crowd, and older couples, older women, and kids for crypto. So you got a 4-quadrant film right here with Superman, but I just don't know if it's cool enough for Gen Z. You get Gen Z, which you didn't really get them the first weekend, just for all intents and purposes. Those are the people that pushed Minecraft to crazy numbers, Lilo and Stitch. So you may not get that crowd. So this film ain't gonna make $1 billion, but it could leg out, as it's saying, with the return crowd. Let's see. We got Mad Max. I don't think it's going to pass 700 million. I'm going to lose a bet if it underperforms. It really seems it's front loaded with preview shows. Well, that's every film, Max. Like, no one. You could say Man of Steel was front loaded in 2013. Then it didn't have a good audience reception, actually. So it ended up just under 700 million. This film started similar to Man of Steel, and it has a good audience projection. So again, they could leg it out. I remember when Guardians 3 came out in real time. And it did what did it say? 118. Was Guardians 3 front loaded? Guardians 3, 118 opening weekend, and it legged out to do over 800 million. So we don't know what this is going to do. Like international, we're going to talk about international numbers in just a moment, but a film that opens up with 220 globally, somehow people are saying, I don't know if it'll make 700 million. It's like a third there already. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mad Max. I'm going to connect with you, Max. We got to catch up. So, yeah, as we said, let's go back here. Marvel, at its lowest point, Guardians 3 opened up to 118 million. And box office for part 3 was what? 845. So I'm just saying, like, we gotta stay in one argument with this film. Guardians 3, it performed so well because it was Marvel? No. That's not why that performed. It was actually a quality film, and James Gunn name recognition helped Guardians 3 leg it out to $845 million. I just hope people understand that, like, because that's how these things, and it had a great reception, and again, it carried over. Of course, Matt Reeves' Batman, because these are the comps that we're talking about with this film. Less competition. So are we saying, they're saying right here, because of this reception, Superman is expected to hold up even against Fantastic Four. So what other competition? What are we talking about? So we're just throwing stuff out there. Okay. These are the people that said this film is going to do less than The Flash. Now the goalpost has moved. It's like we got a Amber Alert out here in old Kentucky. Let's see here. Let's get to the international stuff, because now this is where you can have your arguments now. Because a lot of arguments against this film has been terrible so far today. It's been terrible. Now, where is the box office? Where? Because domestically, this seems like, just to make it clear to people, I think this is a $300 million domestic film, and we'll see, how, again, the name recognition of James Gunn can potentially carry this film like it carried Guardians 3. When Marvel was failing everywhere. Now, internationally, do we have a point here? See, I should have saved all your arguments till I got to this part. Y'all blew y'all load because there's some terrible, terrible takes. Says one disappointing aspect of the film's weekend is overseas performance. There are 95 million in 78 markets. Now, it's going to be more markets open, so keep that in mind. The lower international opening compared to the U.S. is likely attributable to the strong competition overseas. Jurassic World Rebirth. Rebirth got 68 million overseas, 40 domestically. Good job. But again, Jurassic World, you're going to get that new trilogy. They got it. I'm looking forward to it. Just more crazy dinosaur thing. And they show that they can come out. This was a strong competition for Jurassic World domestically. And it's going to level off. But overseas, they know they got that dollar. With dinosaurs proving to be a more potent draw for non-American moviegoers than The Man of Steel, Superman could find its potential final box office total curtailed, even as it's set to become the third film this year to clear 300 million domestic in grosses. Usually, when you get $300 million domestically, you're going to overseas, international, it's going to find its way to get a couple more 100 million. So this film could potentially be a $600 million film. That's potentially what it could be overall. Warner Brothers got ahead of this a week before the film, saying, hey, if we get like 500 million, we're good. Meaning at least 300 million domestically. Do what you do internationally, you'll get at least 200 or more. And so they're saying, hey, we're already happy with this. This film is tracking well domestically. We're going to make more of this DCU world. This is what they're already saying. So those that was hoping this film was a tax write-off or it was going to be flop, the world's going to be canceled off of this film. No, they're going forward. They're going forward with this film. Oh, it's going to hit 500 million. That's not it. I don't even know like what tracking you're using to say luckily if they get 500 million. I'm not sure even what tracking you're using, to be quite honest. Now, people aren't confused, Bobby. They're choosing to be confused. They're choosing to not understand clear numbers. They understood Jurassic World used 5 days for an opening weekend, and no one batted an eye. I was like, so you're not going to call this out? Bravo Universal saying, hey, we 5 day total, 145. People's like, that's a great opening weekend. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm not even sure what tracking people are using to say it's lucky to get 500 million. I'm gonna go through some numbers in just a moment here. They mentioned F1, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's get to some direct numbers. Lucky if you get 500 million, just based off of feelings. Amazing. Let's go here. We got some international numbers. I just want to kind of compare international numbers from this Superman, this opening, to its comp. After the opening, it opened up better than Guardians 3, James Gunn film. Under Batman, the Batman, Reeves Batman, DC project. Batman's the biggest character ever. So it's right in the middle there. So let's compare. There's people saying lucky if they get 500 million based off what someone said on Reddit. UK. All right, so let's look at UK. About 10 million. 10 million opening for the UK. That's tracking just behind Matt Reeves' Batman, which did about 15 million or a little more. And Guardians 3 did the same, did 15 as well. So it's tracking just behind globally. So Superman did 10 million. Matt Reeves' Batman and Guardians 3 did about 15 million opening. So we're going to see, where's this crisis in international numbers? I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out today. Yeah, and I think this is heat wave in the UK. So I wonder if that, and again, I don't know. I did hear about some kind of heat wave. Is it possible that he could chill out the next week or so, and then we get more numbers from UK? That's possible. So okay, so we compared to UK. So what about Mexico? I'm trying to find this huge drop off international. People they read one Reddit post, they think they know how box office works now in international. Superman opened up to about 9 million in Mexico. The Batman opened up to 10 million. So similar to Matt Reeves' Batman. Okay. Guardians opened up to 13 million. So again, similar. So far, this is some similar numbers. China. This is the one, right? China's going to show us that this film fell off a cliff internationally, right? China, 6 million for Superman. And they pushed pretty hard for China. They really did. They put a lot into trying to get China numbers. 6 million. Now, mind you, the last couple of years, China's box office it's been some, it fell off for a lot of films. Just keep that in mind. But okay. Matt Reeves' Batman did 11 million opening in China. Guardians 3, 27 million. So there is a drop off there with China, and you would actually see a drop off. You will see potential low numbers, I believe, from Minecraft. Let me double check that real quick. I think Minecraft didn't do that well in China. I know Inside Out 2 didn't do that good. I'm not sure about Lilo and Stitch. Minecraft got 14 million. So that's definitely a drop off from popular films to China. Not sure if it could be some political underlinings with that. People forget the news a month or two ago. Look at this. People that still believe the production is 368 are automatically disqualified. So this guy right here, I'm not going to highlight any more of your comments, just to let you know, because you believe this budget was 368 million. All right. Let's do another one. Okay, let's go to Brazil. Let's go to Brazil. James Gunn Superman, 6 million. Guardians 3, 6 million. Batman 8 million. Similar. Oh my goodness, bro. So again, similar numbers. I'm gonna do one more because again, I'm trying to show that this isn't tracking so much behind the Batman DC film, Guardians 3. It's all kind of lining up. Well, we'll just keep going down the line here. Let's see what we got. Australia. Superman did 5.3 million. Let's say Australia. Let's find Australia. There we go. All right, what would we say? Superman 5 million. The Batman 8 million. Guardians 3 7 million. So right now the only big drop off is China, and it could be because China hates America right now. That could be part of it. I don't want to incite anything, but that could be part of it. But so far, that's been a big drop off. Belgium, it may not have opened up in Belgium yet. These aren't all the markets, and that's another thing too that again people aren't understanding. They said this opened up to 78 international markets. There's about 20 other markets, I believe, that still needs to be open. So, I mean, more money is going to come in for this film. The markets that it is open, I'm just comparing, showing you that it's opening up close to a DC film and a James Gunn film. It's definitely not performing well in China. But again, recent blockbusters didn't need China to make as much money as it did. So that's a point I'm trying to make right now. Let's go to France. Someone told me online, because it's failing in France, that this is going to keep James Gunn Superman from performing around the world. Now, all respect and love to anyone that supports my platform from France, whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, whatever. I don't have no smoke with you personally, but this was one of the most laughable things. Superman France, it did 4 million, right? For Superman. For Matt Reeves' Batman, it opened up at 7, topping off at 20 overall for France. 20 million France, that's all you gave Batman? So why would we count on France to help any film? DC. You only gave Batman 20 million overall? Come on, France. You can't be in this conversation. Guardians 3 got it started off at 9 million in France. Topping off at 30 million. France, y'all don't move the needle with any blockbuster around the world. So if I fail in France, I know there's other countries I can go to make some money. I don't count on France. You did less than China? So no, I don't want to hear about France box office no more. It's the biggest market. You only gave Batman 20 million? And you think you have a voice in this conversation? Come on. France killing me. But again, similar opens with that. I don't think we need to go on because y'all seeing again just it's similar. There's not some huge drop off except China. I give you China, but I wasn't really expecting China to do much. It didn't do much for Minecraft or Moana 2 or Inside Out 2. China has been falling off for the last couple of years. Let's see who else we got. Let's go to South Korea. South Korea of 4 million for James Gunn Superman opening. He only did 2 million for the Batman. So Superman did better than Batman in South Korea. Where are the headlines for that? Guardians 3 did 10 million. So it doubled that. So again, similar numbers. Oh, no, Smurf, no. I swear these dudes are like real life Lex Luthers. Smurfs will stop them. Smurfs. Your kids may like crypto, but you're gatekeeping crypto away from your kids. Dude's a real life Lex Luthor. What we say? India's next. And again, we still don't have Russia numbers. We don't have I think Hong Kong. Is Hong Kong on this list yet? I don't see Hong Kong. We already did Brazil, Colombia, South Africa, Romania. It's gonna be several, though they don't really do big numbers. Italy, is Italy on here? Italy is on here. Germany, we're missing like several markets. So more money's coming, is my point, folks. Last one I'll do Japan, because Japan's they support a lot of this superhero stuff. Where's Japan? Then we'll move forward. James Gunn Superman, 2.5 million in Japan. In the chat, especially those who are like Lex Luthers, because again, I gave you China. China definitely, again, China's been funny for the last couple of years. If people have been following it, since like post-COVID, China's been kind of weird. What other market has there been this big drop off that people are saying, man, I don't think it's gonna get 500 million? Where's this big drop off? I just told you similar numbers for all these markets except China. But Japan did 2.5 million for James Gunn Superman. Reeves the Batman only did 2 million opening. James Gunn Superman overperformed in Japan compared to Matt Reeves' Batman opening. And Guardians 3 did 2.5 million opening as well. So I just, again, it's a lot of conjecture out there because of France. I'm sorry. I can't take you seriously out there. You're not basing stuff off of actual data. Everyone read that one Reddit post and said, oh man, international. When it's comparing similar to the comp Guardians 3 and Matt Reeves' Batman, meaning this film still has a chance to make 700 million. That is the point. That's the point. It had a similar open to Guardians 3, Matt Reeves' Batman, and is doing similar internationally. Even if you include China, they're still doing similar and is actually overperforming compared to Batman in some areas. And we still got more markets to open up internationally. So, yeah. I think we're done. I think we're done with that. I think we're done with that topic. Let's see. I'm not a hater. No, you are a hater. Superman's my favorite character. Most of my friends are Superman. I'm just realistic. What's realistic? What's being realistic? It opened up in Germany. Let me double check. Because I definitely don't want to take your word for it. Let me see. Rando says it opened up in Germany. So let me see. There's no Germany numbers, bro. At least I don't see it. Let's see. Let's try another. Germany. Oh man, it's supposed to open up great in Germany. What are we saying, bro? That can't be. Is that even right? I don't see the Germany number. I really don't see the number. But even if let's say this does fail in Germany, let's just go. Let's go with this angle, this uninformed angle. I think Germany only gave Matt Reeves' Batman 20 million overall. So even if it tracks behind Germany, that's not moving the needle. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. That's my point. I'm like, this is just like France. Like, this falling behind in France. Now, UK, it definitely has to pick up in UK because they do depend on the UK market. China, as I mentioned, again, if you want to be informed about this, people can choose to stay in ignorance and make stupid comments, but China's been falling off for a lot of films. France and Germany, that's not moving the needle. That's the point. Yeah, we just went through the whole Jurassic World. Yeah. So what percentage do they get from international box office? We already went through this, so you probably should just rewind. Yeah. Well, Jurassic World's got. Well, how much did Jurassic World got domestic? Superman's about to pass that probably next week. So just keep it. I mean, there's things to criticize this film for. You don't have to make up stuff. That's the point. That's the point I've been trying to make. And again, internationally, it has a similar box office to its comps. Jurassic, Guardians 3, Matt Reeves' Batman. Superman is opening up similar to those. Both those films made over 700 million. So this is going to easily pass 500 million, folks. That's the point I believe we made with that. Talking about France. Oh, Germany. Stay off of Reddit. Okay, stay off of Reddit, folks. You don't learn much on Reddit. Got y'all thinking this film's fighting for his life internationally. But it is, like I said, it has a soft opening, yeah, relatively, but it's still gonna make some money. WB owns part of Rotten Tomatoes, so why is that important? Red Rum. Peter says there's some anti-American sentiment, probably in China. Yeah, other markets is actually doing okay. China, it could be something to that, but again, China hasn't really helped anything towards $1 billion the last couple of years. So it's probably more to just the China market. You know, again, it's some sentiments there. But going through all these numbers, WB owns part of Rotten Tomatoes. What does that matter? That's what I want to understand. I don't know. Maybe we don't have nothing. Okay. I was just wondering. I didn't know how that factored into international marketing, and maybe WB should own part of Reddit. Then they can put better fake stories out there. Because this is doing pretty well internationally, actually, in the markets that's open. And again, I don't see any Germany numbers, so I'm not sure whoever was saying Germany. I didn't see it already, but anyway, let's get to the final topic today. Fantastic Four, because that's the next film that's about to come out here. Let's see the 7 in front of it. I mean, I still hold to 700 million because the numbers is not doing too bad compared to the comps, and we know domestically it's going to hit 300 million the way it's tracking. So we'll talk more about that in the future. Fantastic Four. They have a new clip out there. Let's throw it up here.
Take us through how
you hold on. You hold on. Let's turn this down a little bit. Now, Fantastic Four, this is what I want to say before we play this clip, is that the tracking of this film had been tracking behind James Gunn's Superman. So that's interesting. We'll see again if it somehow magically all of a sudden 120 is going to be good now if Fantastic Four opens up at 120 or less. But it's actually been tracking behind as far as pre-sales and everything. But it's tracking to do really good for Marvel overall. They need this. Marvel needs this. But I just want to kind of throw that out there. The numbers that we saw, Jurassic World, its opening weekend came into what the tracking was doing. It actually did a little bit better. Superman fell into the middle of what the tracking numbers were saying. Fantastic Four had been tracking behind Superman. We see what Superman did. What does that mean for Fantastic Four? And all of a sudden they put out this clip, which I was like, man, maybe they put out too much. But they got to generate some hype and really try to latch on to Superman a little bit, right? That's kind of what they need to do. Let's see. Where's all my goggles ain't working no more. Hold on. Let me fix this real quick. All right, save. Oh, we got an L. Well, we got to run with it. This is a new clip they put out, Fantastic Four.
Could you take us through how you defeated Galactus?
Oh, it's because it's a wide.
Not yet. Not yet, we didn't. We attempted to negotiate, but Galactus... he asked too high a price.
Now, this scene, first off, you gave a look of Galactus. This is like, in my opinion. Now, we already saw Galactus in the trailer, but it's like, save these shots. You don't got to show Galactus too much right now. You only got so many shots in this film of him. So I was a little surprised they threw out another look of Galactus. You know, we always talk about how Warner Brothers puts too much in their trailers and the Doomsday and stuff like that. So, yeah, I was kind of hoping they didn't show too much, but they got to, again, if this has been tracking behind Superman and Superman came in the middle, business-wise, you're like, oh, we need to generate a little bit more to try to catch what Superman just did.
He asked too high a price.
Well, what does he want?
What did he ask? He asked for our child.
Why reveal that right now? Right? I'm intrigued. I'm going to see this Thursday preview, just like I did Superman, and looking forward to this. I was like, man, you don't have to reveal all this right now, in my opinion.
Sean, answer this. Are we safe?
Are we safe? I don't know.
Man, that was wild. That was wild right there, to just reveal that. I didn't see the need to, but I like what I'm seeing with this film. It's definitely trying to generate, like I said, more excitement because of, again, the tracking numbers. It's been behind Superman. Now we see what Superman's did. We need to drum up some hype, or hey, you know, if you go see Superman again, go see Fantastic Four. You know, that's what they're trying to do. It's a little desperation right there, just a little bit, just a little bit with that. But again, I'm looking forward to the film. We're going to, you know, cover that if it has some notable numbers or things that's happened with it. What I will say, I guess I'll throw my projections out there. We're still, a week away? It's next week. Okay. I would say Fantastic Four, I think it can hit 100. I think it can hit 100. I don't think it's going to do as good as Superman. And again, that's just based off the forecast. As far as opening, I don't think the opening domestically would do as good as Superman. But that definitely, I mean, if they drum up the hype and, you know, again, word of mouth, it's always a factor. That's what I think. I think you'll at least get 100 million with that film. Interesting. So that was kind of a quick one for Fantastic Four. I do got a little bonus thing. I got about 15 minutes to fill. Again, we went through the international stuff. Let's go through one more article here. Bonus topic, Clayface. Exclusive. Nexus News, I believe, is the Nexus Point. They got some information out there about Clayface. A lot of eyes are looking towards the production of this film, which I think will be towards the end of this year for DC. They had, as far as the DCU world, they got a breath of life with the Superman opening. Zaslav taking victory laps. Supergirl's already been shot. You got Lanterns, Peacemakers series. Now they want to shoot a low budget Clayface film, right? This is, when you want to take risks, they're going to sleep very comfortably when Clayface comes out because it's going to make up his budget, opening weekend. I mean, a $40 million production. Yeah, I think they can get 40 million opening weekend for that. And then whatever you get international is kind of frosting right now. And this is what I was trying to tell people. We don't have the same international market anymore for American-based films. Again, it could be some anti-American sentiments out there, possibly. But if you just look at the Jurassic World franchise, you had Dominion did what, like 600 internationally? Then the last one did 400. Now this one's going to do about 400. There's less money to get internationally. So domestically, you do have to win. And with these low budget films, this is how you're going to win with this. So let's see. What do we know about DC Studios' Clayface? Everything we know. This is the third feature film, part of the DC universe. R-rated body horror. So not for the kids, not for the Smurfs fans. You Smurf fans out there, this ain't the movie for you. It explores the origins of the monstrous, shape-shifting Batman rogue. We're going to have the Mike Flanagan version of Clayface, which is the one everyone's used to from the animated series. Oh, I'm sorry. The version, his script. I'm thinking of the Clayface name, Hagen. Mike Flanagan, totally different people. Mike Flanagan is the one that did Dr. Sleep and all, the writer and director. He first expressed interest 2021. And he pitched it to Gunn. It was greenlit, produced by Matt Reeves and Gunn Safran. Supposedly Gunn is saying, I did this article about Flanagan a couple weeks ago where Flanagan was like, hey, I sold him the script basically. I'm out of it. I'm not directing it. I'm not doing anything else with the film. And people like me was worrying, man, are they going to mess up this story? That's funny. But, are they going to mess up this story? And Gunn tried to dispel that. But I think Gunn is starting to realize, like, he kind of has been too active online because now he says some stuff that didn't really line up or didn't really hold. So it's hard to trust when Gunn comes out and says anything. He could just be blowing smoke to cover something, or he could really be debunking something. We won't know until, it actually comes out. So Gunn is saying they're not going to mess with his script too much. They're just adapting it for screenplay. We'll see. It's set for production in a couple months in the UK. That's going to be a fun film to cover, and any project details I get, Patrons, y'all probably get it first, link in the description. Become a Patreon member. This looks smaller. Let's see. Okay, it'll be okay. But Flanagan said he based this off of the Batman animated series Feet of Clay, 2-parter. So that's when Hagen, not Flanagan, Hagen, who is the Clayface, who's an amalgamation of the Basil Carlos story as well. So you're going to get a mixture of that background, just like the animated series. So we're going to see that transformation, the body horror, the R-ratedness of it. It looks like that's what we're going to get. They already cast Matt Hagen, right? Now they say he's going to be from Gotham, moves to Hollywood to escape his troubled past and begin a career as an actor. He undergoes a disfigurement, and his career and outlet as an actor is ruined and is eventually transformed into a shape-shifting monster. That's straight from the, yeah. I don't know if we got anything new with this. Did we get anything new? I thought it was a little exclusive. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Hagen's love interest in the film is Dr. Caitlin Bates. Okay, so we got some information here. Bates is a CEO of a biotech startup seeking to create cutting-edge medicine and medical technology. Bates sees Hagen as a way to grow her company, cure his condition. Throughout the process, she falls in love with him while her fiance, John, grows suspicious. John is a detective. Okay. The antagonist of the film is set to be a crime boss. Who could be the crime boss? We're going to get Daggett. Maybe Daggett's in this film, just like the animated. At the moment, the film is not set to feature any recognizable DC characters and will primarily consist of original characters in this character-driven horror film. Set to release September 11th, 2026. I think we're getting Daggett. I think that's a good chance we get Daggett. Interesting stuff there. The Clayface. Last minute comments or questions in the chat as we wind this one down. Going over Superman international numbers, etc. Oh, we on Donkey Kong. We're not on Donkey Kong. How dare you? Again, we'll see a second week of Superman is projected to hold pretty well. We'll go over those numbers when the time comes. It has a pretty full week to get as much money as possible at this time. Let's see something here. And we still are waiting for more international gates to come in for the film. So that is interesting. Agent 47 says here, I think Clayface gets canceled. I still believe Superman was canceled, and the film I saw wasn't. Oh man, keep hoping. No guarantee it holds. Movie hot garbage. It's sad to see so many complacent lemmings out here. Well, forecasts are not guarantees. So again, I've been doing this for about 3 years now. A forecast is never a guarantee, but definitely your approach to it is not a guarantee either. Like the sample size of the audience score is more positive than you. So I think it's going to hold. Yeah. Hello, Red Rum, you didn't answer when I asked about Rotten Tomatoes. Why was that important? Now you come back with this. He said the original argument was this film was going to make $1 billion. Well, whose original argument, Red Rum? Just somebody. The projections wasn't saying $1 billion. So let's be clear. Now, was there some overzealous people, just excited for this film, saying it's going to make $1 billion? Yeah, there were. There were some saying Jurassic World Rebirth will make $1 billion. I don't hear them talking anymore. Because the numbers definitely wasn't showing Jurassic World making $1 billion. Even with the international numbers, domestically, Jurassic World Rebirth was tracking behind its predecessors. So that's the message I put out there for that. I didn't think it would make $1 billion. Superman, I was like, I don't know. I was like $1 billion. I said 700. My number's still alive. So again, don't take a few people you saw tweet something as true projections. Superman was never projected to make $1 billion. The studio releases articles stating marketing was only $100 million for damage control, seeing how numbers were below Man of Steel. No, studios, they do creative accounting. I've said this on my channel a couple years now. They're going to make these numbers look how they want as far as on their budget sheet. So they just need something believable. Oh yeah, we just did 100. Now, a lot of that marketing, they marketed with under the WBD umbrella. So they own all these channels and they was doing all these TV spots. Then they did spend money in the last month or so But this is what they're putting on their tax return, $100 million. I'm not going to fight them about that. You know, I guess you want to know how much money they're putting in their pocket after that. I really don't care. I'm gonna be quite honest. I really don't care how much money they're putting in their pocket. But we've already established earlier, yesterday and today, that or 2 days ago and today. My point, we know Man of Steel did better. Yeah. Like let's do everybody know that? Do we know this came just behind Man of Steel? Because it seems like several people yeah, it's clear it came behind Man of Steel. What do we want to make sure everybody knows that? Like, I'm just trying to be good. I enjoy Man of Steel. I'm still continue to watch Man of Steel. I'm gonna see what they do with this DC as well too. But it's like, what are we jumping up and screaming about? The movie be lucky if it gets 490 million. Based on what? Red Run. Well, this is probably the last comment I'm going to highlight with you because you never answered none of my questions. I feel disrespected. It's doing mid in Europe at best. No, it's doing similar to Matt Reeves' Batman and Guardians 3. Don't believe Reddit. I just compared the numbers live. So you can rewatch that part and you can look up the box office numbers, whatever site you use, and compare what I said. It's not doing mid, it's doing similar. Fingers crossed for a low 40s drop. Based off, like I said, the audience metrics that I've used for every film the last 3 years, it's a good chance this film's going to hold. If it does a 40s, I don't think it's going to be like Sinners level, because that was just insane to see Sinners pretty much maintain the same box office. But that was a low budget, horror film. Superman, you got a little more leniency with that. 40% is not out of the argument there. Because again, because of the metrics. I told Gunn fans to stop with the 150. Yeah, I remember live. Who was like, let's chill. I kept saying 120, which I was correct. Pat myself on the back, and I won my bet, my personal bet. Someone was saying it won't make over 100 million, and I won. So that's bragging rights for a year, I guess. I think that's all I get for that. I should have put a dollar total, but I was telling people live. I was like, chill on that projection. But you can't help me. People was excited about the potential of the film. And now we got the actual numbers. That 125 is a good opening for any franchise. Like for Jurassic World, Rebirth didn't get 125 in 3 days. They got a 5-day total. So, I'm just saying. Somehow 125 million opens bad because of their feelings. Let's see. We're just catching up with y'all chat. Last minute comments and questions. 5 minutes. I got like 5 minutes. You think these people were invested in WB with how much they care about his numbers? I mean, yeah, they want to know the cash investments, their stocks, and I don't know what's going on. Do you think the Snyder Cut drama is affecting Superman's box office in some way? What Snyder Cut drama? What? There is no Snyder Cut drama right now. I told people leading up to this film, When people was like, "Oh, it's gonna be DOA," all DC fans ain't gonna support this. It's doing great domestically and similar internationally to its comps. I said I saw this type of energy before in 2022 with Matt Reeves' Batman, where people was like, "Oh, we're gonna boycott it," and it did pretty well. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Superman, and we're seeing the opening, and the numbers are lining up. Now again, yeah, like I said, China didn't do a lot for Matt Reeves' Batman either. It did better. It did do better, a little better in China, but this is coming up to its comps. So again, people got to stop with these Reddit articles. Let's see. What are we talking about now? We just went through the international numbers. You should probably rewind. Yeah, about 9 million. I think they said, what was it, some kind of heat wave or something with UK. So we'll see if those numbers pick up. I mean, are we saying this is drastically different? It's tracking just behind what Reeves' Batman did. So what are we? I don't understand. I don't understand the numbers you're using. I don't understand what is close to those numbers. So what's the point? What about the domestic numbers? That's where they make their money at. That's why I tell. Now some people may maybe not be y'all country. I don't know, but you gotta make it here first before everywhere else. It's like I don't understand. Like we went through all these numbers. Where were you just at 30 minutes ago? I just had the whole chart up here. Snyder Cut drama is how they treated Snyder. Well, okay, so let me just make it very clear. Just like what happened with Matt Reeves' Batman, there was an audience for Matt Reeves' Batman. There is an audience for James Gunn's Superman, and it has high audience scores. That's forecasting that it's going to hold pretty well, just like any other film will have those trackings if you have those numbers. And it has its audience. So if people are going to boycott it, go ahead. It's already had its opening. Zaslav is doing laps around Warner Brothers right now, celebrating. And he's like, yo, you're going to get this first wave of DCU, and you're going to get more, actually. I'll just let you know. Gunn's going to get his extension. As long as Supergirl, holds up pretty well. So you're going to get a 6 to 8 to 10 year plan. That's what's happening. You're going to get your Justice League crossover 2031. Was an early word on that. So if the amount of people said, hey, we're boycotting Warner Bros. I don't know what else to say with this. It's making its money. And for those who wants to boycott Warner Bros., I say continue to do it. Like, I would never tell no one to not boycott. Just like with Matt Reeves' Batman, I said, do your thing. But it found its market, and this film is finding this market. So that's just, yeah. I guess that's all I'll say about that. James Gunn needs Batman to carry the DCU. Any updates on how's the writing on that movie? Gunn is so he runs a tight ship. Like, I did, get him on a couple of scoops. But this Batman is a heavily guarded situation. That and Wonder Woman. Again, as far as with Batman, like I said, I still say Alan Ritchson should be that guy. My source and went cold since last summer on the casting. I'm terrible at casting anyway, so I don't look for me for that. I'll give you information. The casting I'm terrible at. But so we'll see. Wonder Woman is a major emphasis, though, for sure. That's been reiterated after the Superman opening. So you're getting this first wave of DC, folks. I mean, that's just what it is. You can look at international markets all you want. I don't know what else to tell you. It starts domestically. This film, just in theory, and this is gonna sound outlandish when I say this, but if this film domestically gets 300 million, they really don't care what international, like they'll take it, but it really doesn't matter internationally what it's going to do. But they'll probably do around 300 internationally. So I mean, I will throw it out like this: it could end up less than 700 million. That's still my number. It's still doing well enough internationally, so we'll see. But domestically, 300 for sure. I think you could book that. I'll take someone's bet on that. If it can make 300 million, and then just how more can you get from that? But like I said, they're really happy with the opening and tracking, and so it's onwards as far as with Gunn's DCU, because they won the headlines, and that's what I always try to tell people: you got to win the headlines, and they still shaking their fists. It's like I swear, it's Batman for the heavy hitter. It's all gonna lead up to that Batman, and it's more about just how is this Reeves gonna come out? Because I still think it's a real good chance Reeves will wrap up his Batman story 2027, right? And then you get the new one, Brave and the Bold, 28, 29. That's what I think. You got some breathing room now. Now that Superman actually worked. Supergirl next year. I say you have your Wonder Woman ready 2027. In my opinion, I think you could really push that, or it'd probably be early 28. Then let's start getting that DCU Batman. That's what I would say overall, because you're getting this first wave of DCU. So people that again want to look at what France is doing about Superman, it doesn't matter really at this point. You're getting this wave, and it's about how you're going to end this Reeves, Elseworld story, because you need Batman to be pretty big for DCU. That's going to be your $1 billion effort. If it does perform on par with Matt Reeves' Batman, do you think Reeves will allow his Batman to be merged into the DCU? No, I say a hard no on that, Zarp. I think Reeves, he has a trilogy story in mind for his Matt Reeves Batman, but I'm sure he can end it in the second film too, because he's not going to really try to expand the Batman world as much. It may be, I still think it's a chance for a trilogy because they have some spin-off ideas like the Penguin, one-shot series. So I guess that's the question. Can that coexist? Because it's not going to fold in. It's not going to merge, but you got to get DCU Batman ready to go, but it has to feel different from Matt Reeves' Batman. And then it's just a question of, do we need these two different worlds? One has kaijus, DCU world and crazy stuff, crazy colors. And then one is the crime saga. It can coexist. It's just the marketing has to be right. You got to make it very clear. This is the real world Penguins type stuff, crime saga, fantastical over here. I think it could work. But it's not going to merge. No, not going to merge. A win for Superman box office, 300 million domestic, meaning you're going to have at least 200 or 300 internationally with that number. When you combine all the markets, not just France, not just Ireland, international markets add up, to the big total. And 300 domestic means you're going to get 200 or 300 international. So it's I say at least 600, but my number's 7. I'm saying 7. I'm sticking to it. I made a public bet about that. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But I say 700, but I think, yeah, definitely domestically 300, internationally 200 to 300. Let's see. Superman's not a viable film franchise. It just made 125 opening. Of course, it would be one and done. Huh? In what world is this type of opening a one and done? I gotta start wrapping this up. Let's see. Hold on, I'm doing too much. Doing too much. All right. A film. So is Jurassic World Rebirth a viable franchise? It opened up less than Superman. See, a lot of people, y'all paint yourselves in the corner parading about Jurassic World, like, oh, look at these numbers. When domestically it's tracking behind its predecessors, and Superman did better in less days domestically. And it's not even about if people understand it or not. It just gives me a chance. Y'all making it more reasons for me to make these videos because I'm seeing all the nonsense. So I'm like, oh, I could just come out and say what I said last week. Believe the projections. Because it's been like that for every film. Now, this is fair. See, this is fair for the headline, because that's why I said this whole time. It's about the headlines. So 125 million opening, headline. 220 global, another headline. Gunn getting out there saying, oh, if I also make 500 million, or Warner Brothers said, or like WBD said, oh, 500 million will be okay. I said that last year, but okay. If you know, you know. More likely to get 600. I think if it gets over 600, actually, that's your headline. Like, hey, we a rebooted franchise, folks. Hey, Man of Steel only did 600 in 2013. You see what I'm saying? So 600 can work, actually. 700, then they can say, oh, take that, Man of Steel. then you'll have people coming in here saying, well, Man of Steel did this, and then you add this. So 600, they can spin with that because they can say this is a new start, a new reboot. 700, you could really just dunk on everyone, in my opinion. Now, 700 not happening based on what, Raven? See, that's what I'm saying. It's these general comments. Based on what? I just went through all the international numbers. Domestically, it's going to do at least 300. So just based on what? Superman might only do 500 to 600. It just opened up 125 million domestically. So the draw is there. We got to stop saying the draw is not there. That's just not being realistic. All right. Okay, dang, I really do got to go. Because this is all we're saying. When you say stuff like this does not line up to reality, I hate James Gunn and Warner Brothers in that too. Yeah. The draw is there for Superman. That's why it's had 125 million. Sam Wilson would love to get 125 million. Thunderbolts, they would have loved. Fantastic Four is praying it gets this opening. Next week, we'll hold it because, like I said, a lot of y'all paint yourselves in the corner with y'all conclusions. Let's see what Fantastic Four do. How they will be parading if it got 120. Amazing. Now Superman doesn't have a draw. Please come back next week. And it's not even about going at you. Like I said, I appreciate different opinions, but you can't have your own facts. We can't do that. Again, just as we wind this out, because I got to close this. Very strong domestic opening for James Gunn's Superman. Again, they came out with those words saying like, hey, we got to win domestic first. We'll take what we get international. And when we look at the international numbers, it is similar to Matt Reeves' Batman. These are the comps. Matt Reeves' Batman and Guardians 3. And Superman is right in the middle of all that. So we shall see how that goes overall. We'll have the updates when when pertinent. If the top topic is Superman, that's what we'll talk about. But mostly I talk all CBM geek news, box office, etc. And right now, just DC's been the talk of the town because of Superman. We'll see what happens with Fantastic Four next week. During this week, like I said, I'll pop up. Make sure you subscribe, notifications on. I'll pop up if there's some notable updates on the box office. And then I think Wednesday, we're going to get a good number for what Superman's going to do this weekend. So that's going to be pretty cool to argue with some people about with that. Much love to Soul Nation. Till next time. We out of here, man. Where's my drop? Here we go.
Stay tuned.
Sylabdul ink to speak true as he bring the news. Coffee talk, stay brew, kick back, get real comfortable. Here to stay, no on delay, make sure I be's informed. On the road, on the go, playing ball on that pavement floor. It's the lifestyle right now, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Guaranteed all week's going to always be on time. That's my word, y'all heard from Il Divino Vega's mouth. What's the worth? Much more than what these networks talk about.